64%. That is a percentage of Americans, adult Americans, in the latest Washington Post ABC News poll, who said that they found President Obama more likable, more friendly than that guy Mitt Romney, who apparently you, Internet, do not think is a very nice guy. And this is Power Play. Welcome back, and welcome back to Mary Catherine Ham of Daily Caller and widespread Internet fame. And I want credit, Mary Catherine, for not having made any Hammer Time jokes at all.
Look at that.
I've not done it, and I want credit, Internet. Credit where credit is due, though I am wearing harem pants right now, and you just don't know it. But please welcome, who may also be wearing harem pants, I don't know, John Helenko, his first visit with us here on Los Internets. He is a Democratic strategist. He is up in New York. John, welcome to the big show.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
We'll see about that. Okay, now this poll was revealing in a lot of ways, and it is certainly good news for President Obama. Showed him going from a 2-point deficit to Mitt Romney among registered voters to a 7-point lead. That is a big swing in a month. It says things are going in the right direction for him. He still has a lot of trouble on the economy. He still has a lot of soft spots, especially on deficits and other things. But what struck me, folks, was the likability margin.
Yeah.
And we know from a lot of elections past that when you get down to the very end of the election and those folks who can't make up their minds, they're the persuadable voter, how anybody could be tilting between these two choices who are so very different from each other. But when you get down to these folks at the very end, likability, affability has an awful lot to do with how late breakers decide, do they like him? George W. Bush certainly benefited from that against John Kerry and Al Gore. So let's talk about it. And John, let's start with you. Does likability really, really matter?
You know, it's one of those things that seems like fluff, but it matters. You have to go back all the way to 1972, in my opinion at least, to find a candidate who came across as less likable and less friendly and won. And that was Richard Nixon. You know, you go election by election by election, it makes a big difference. Again, it seems fluffy, but you know, you look at things like the taller candidate usually winning, us not having a president with facial hair in 100 years. You know, little things do matter, and people do make judgments on the basis of likability. And right now, President Obama is fairly far ahead. Mitt Romney will make up a lot of that gap, I think, after the primaries are over. But if President Obama is still ahead by even close to this much, he's going to win in November.
Now, Mary Catherine, likability is not going to be Mitt Romney's strongest suit, and they would own that, I assume.
Yes.
He's running as a turnaround artist, a CEO for the government, a guy who can come in and turn things around. But likability is sort of a stand-in for the intangible quality, and that's what John is alluding to there. Do I trust this person? Do I feel good about this person? Do I feel comfortable with this person? Romney has done a bad job to this point when he has tried to soften this number, when he has tried to say that he likes cheesy grits, or that he has many friends who are NASCAR owners and stuff like that. He's had a hard time on relatability, likability issues. What should he do differently than he's doing now?
Well, let me first put out there, I would submit that maybe the news for him isn't quite as bad as this poll suggests for this reason.
Hit me.
Last month, the sampling, the Democratic advantage was 4 points over Republicans. This month, it's 11 points over Republicans, according to the WAPO sample. Yeah. And suddenly he's got a 7-point lead. So, but that doesn't mean that Romney's problems are over.
Right. That would not get him from 24% to 64%.
It just means that some of these results maybe are not as panic-inducing as they look for Romney. But I do think this is a serious problem for him, and I don't think that he's actually not relatable only because of the money issue. That's what a lot of people sort of make it into. But I think it's just a general human connecting issue.
Talking to the people.
Yeah,
yes.
He's just not charismatic in the way that other leaders are.
But what do you do about it?
I'm not sure you can do anything about it. I've always been skeptical about Mitt Romney as a national candidate for that reason, because he doesn't. Now, Barack Obama, when his numbers are bad, when things are looking bad, he has what I like to call a charisma cushion.
Right.
People fall back on that and they go, oh, well, I still like the guy.
Like him, nice
and
family.
He has a
Yeah.
pretty substantial one. Mitt Romney, I think, who has no hint of scandal, has
Right.
been a successful guy.
5 children.
Right.
Yes.
He has no charisma cushion, so you see him taking these hits a lot harder, and I think it's going to continue to be a problem.
All right, so John, the issue for President Obama is making sure that this does not become a referendum on his first term in office. He is casting this as a choice election between what he describes as 2 starkly different visions for the future. One that he says is a return to Bush wickedness and iniquity and helping the richy riches take care of the poor, or take advantage of the poor, and his own version, which he says is a fairness society. Does he have to have this charisma cushion that Mary Catherine was talking about in order to make that work? Because the poll also indicates that when it comes to, and other polls back this up, when it comes to this fairness concept, that voters aren't necessarily biting.
Yeah, I think the charisma cushion is a great way to phrase it, and it's going to help. It's going to help a lot. Whether or not he needs it will depend, I think, on how the economy is going. If we're still over 8%, if we're creeping up towards 9%, that's trouble. If it's going down towards 7% and continuing, albeit slowly, in the right direction, that's going to help him. But either way, the charisma cushion helps. If you think about President Reagan back in the 80s, there were a heck of a lot of Democrats that disagreed with his policies that liked the guy. He radiated optimism. It was hard not to like him. And I think President Obama may not be as popular amongst all segments of the electorate, but 64% is a big deal. People thinking of you as more friendly, more likable, that's got to help him. It's one of those things where if you like someone, you may not agree with them all the time, but you're going to give them more of the benefit of the doubt. And right now, that's to his advantage.
And before we let you go, I want to ask you this, and I think this is very significant for the president. As he embraces a sharper tone, and we have heard a much sharper tone from the president in recent weeks, talking about the Supreme Court, talking about the Paul Ryan budget blueprint and other things. He's got sort of a mocking tone, a jeering tone when it comes to his opponents, and part of this is necessary to sort of get the base geared up for a general election fight and all of those things. Does he put this charisma cushion in jeopardy, do you think, when he adopts this more strident tone?
Well, I think it depends how he does it. If he uses humor, I think it's okay. I mean, you can get away with a lot if you use humor. So when he joked about Mitt Romney using the word marvelous, for example, and how that's a word you hardly ever hear, if it's an insult, if it's jeering, but if it's done with a smile and it's done with humor, it's amazing how much you can get away with. If it comes across as mean-spirited, then that's a problem, and that will hurt the charisma cushion.
That's certainly our watchword here. Is we use humor to get out of trouble. John, we thank you so much for making your maiden voyage with us today. Have a great day up in New York.
Thank you. You too.